Hi guys, welcome back to Thursday Top Lessons. Hope you've liked the video so far. Please do subscribe to our channel. Today we're going to talk about perhaps the biggest brand, a person, a leader who has inspired at least a generation, if not more. Steve Jobs. So, Steve Jobs, one name, or rather a brand that stands synonymous with the genius, brash, unparalleled perseverance, and of course, startup. So, most of us have already, perhaps read this book, which covers the life journey of Steve Jobs beautifully. But this book by Brent Chandler and Rick Tetzelli is a bonus for people who are willing to learn from Steve's growth, fall, and then growth again. So this book assures a very well-deserved praise for all of Steve Jobs' genius and perseverant in making a dent in the universe, but also it glorifies his weakness, his fall, and his human side, his human nature that can help many of us learn about professional and business lives. So here we will cover only the weak spots of Steve Jobs' human nature, because his strength can only be translated in one metric for now, that is Apple's market cap, which is $2 trillion as of now. And the important thing is, when I read this book in 2018, Apple's market cap was 745 billion. So seems like a pretty steep jump. So lesson 1, even a potential like Steve Jobs comes with an expiration date. So this happened when he has been ousted from Apple at the age of 30. He still enjoyed his superhero status in Silicon Valley, and a lot of people had put in money into him for his next venture, which was Next. But after a couple of years, when he had nothing significant to show in terms of numbers, this very same people had started running out of patience and started doubting him. So always remember, whatsoever potential you have, you come with an expiration date. You need to keep upgrading yourself. Next, he had absolute self confidence that he could sell people a sense of discovery in the form of technological products they previously didn't know they ever even wanted. Now, such a confidence for him was usually justified. For example, he was talking about the most beautiful circuit boards. Now, such confidence only yields results when combined with superior products. Only the beautifully crafted circuit boards could never have brought Apple to where it is today. Now, this is one of the finest lessons from this book. It states that Steve was looking in the mirror while McNeely, the founder of Sun, had been looking out the window to learn what the world really wanted. Now, this is a much needed philosophical introspection that anyone looking out to make it on his or her own should take note of. So, Sun Microsystems, the owner of Java, was soaring at the time Steve was in his decline. He was still adamant that he was the center, and while Sun Microsystems, McNeely was focused on what is happening in the world, what the world is wanting. So the adamant Steve soon realized it and also took that view in his second stint at Apple. Now we come to an important management philosophy, the Pixar Brain Trust. So this is a core think tank that just provides constructive criticism. They do not have any authority, they simply listen to advice. This Pixar management strategy is which helps them improve upon each decision. Next is the power of Steve Jobs in negotiations. So the iPod was basically empty without music. If music industry had stuck together for a dual revenue stream, they would have gotten somewhere. Now just imagine the power of persuasion of one guy. He got the entire music industry to share 30% of revenue coming from all sound downloads on iTunes. Now, doing this after an embarrassing negotiation with IBM for Next is a massive turnaround. So, he learned really quickly from the sale of Next. So, iPods sold and music industry helped them sell more iPods. He did the exact same thing with Disney on the Pixar deal and telecom players for the launch of iPhone. Now, here's one of Steve's advice to his associates. He says that one of the things that I've always felt is that if you're going to be creative, it's like jumping up in the air. You want to make damn sure that there is ground when you're going to land back. Next, he said that I don't know that I can convince people that tablet is a better product category that has real value, but I know that I can convince people they need a better phone. Now, knowing when to enter which product category is a mix of intuition and understanding consumer behavior. Had Steve pushed the iPad before the iPhone, we don't know what the result might have been. Now, story of a man who matured slowly into a seasoned leader is less interesting. Learning how to have disposable cash flow, how to pick the right people, and growing and rounding off the sharp edges, and not merely acting strange. That's not as interesting. So, following an image of Steve Jobs as outright brash is deadly for entrepreneurs. Also, such hype only helps for books or movies. Now, this is an important lesson in understanding feedback loops. He says that it wasn't about the numbers, it was a vindication that restored his sense of faith in humanity. Given the choice, actually, people do discern and value quality more than we give them credit for. So, looking at the positive reviews of his products and, of course, sales numbers, his faith in his own vision grew stronger. So, we must have a feedback to channel our energies. Now, this book also talks about an interesting lesson on why being adamant at all times is not so good. So, basically, when Google released Android for free, while Eric Schmidt was still on Apple's board, this was no less than a replay of what Bill Gates had done with Windows 2 decades ago. Apple sued Samsung, but later it decided to drop all the lawsuits outside the US. Steve's intense focus was a competitive advantage, but in this case, the legal battle had become an albatross and was likely to prove to be a distraction until 2014, which was, the lawsuit was dropped after Steve's death. They could have saved a lot of money, but being adamant, Steve persisted with those lawsuits. Now, to close, let's take Bill Gates' view on Steve Jobs, which perfectly rounds off his personality. He says that most people looking to mimic Steve as an entrepreneur have the asshole part done, but what they lack is the genius part.